today. So, you know, I don't think there's a problem with anything I've said, because I've never advocated for anything illegal. I've never advocated for any crime. I do not advocate for drugs. I do not advocate for violence. I do not advocate for any of these things. So if Andrew said that women can't drive as well as men once, like, it's very easy to jump on that and say this man is the world's biggest misogynist because he said X. And I think it's really stupid.
He said a lot worse things than that. I do think
that was the original reason he went viral.
I do think he said a lot of blatantly misogynist things. I don't think he's even really aware. I don't think he even thinks they are misogynist.
Well, that depends on your worldview, and it actually depends on the worldview of where you live. Because if you were to walk around the country of Romania, the great country of Romania, and you were to talk to people and say some of the misogynistic things you've heard Andrew, me, anyone else in the world say in England that are considered misogyny, the men and the women here would be like, yeah. Huh? What? Misogynistic? What's like?
Yeah, that's not a very good defense.
Well, no, it's not.
The fact that other countries,
I'm not trying to defend myself.
Other countries tolerate it.
No, I'm not trying to defend myself. But the man should go out and work, and the woman should stay home and take care of the family. This is my point. So in England, that's for some reason makes people's heads explode when I say that's how I want to live. I'm happy. I'm not saying
you're perfectly entitled to live how you like.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you guys have made millions and millions of pounds out of preaching that message, and the criticism is that young, impressionable teenage boys in particular have been led to believe by you guys that the only way to succeed in life is with that dynamic.
No.
Where the man's in charge, he's the hunter, he's the provider, the woman stays at home, she makes herself look good, and her only whole modus operandi each day, a whole raison d'etre, is to get up and make a man feel good.
I'm going to correct you, because I think you're completely wrong about what me and Andrew preach. What me and Andrew preach is a message of masculine excellence. And when you are an excellent man, when you are strong, smart, sharp, all of the things that we tell young men to be, disciplined, then you can find a wife and a woman and a life and a dynamic, 4 wives if you like, and live exactly how you want.
Oh, sure.
And you can have a wife who's more successful than you.
You
can date a judge or a lawyer or a doctor.
You do both basically believe women should stay at home and not go to work.
No, I believe that I want my woman at home with my family, and that's the way I wish to live.
However, that's also what you preach. That's also what you preach in your university, right? I mean, you think
I don't preach anything inside of any university.
Right. Well, okay.
No, the university. Sorry, if you're talking about the real world, the online educational platform, which has been attacked and slandered more than me. Keep in mind, I don't own it. It's been slandered and attacked and said that it teaches people how to abuse women. What kind of app would teach people how to abuse women? It's insane. It teaches web design, e-commerce, copywriting, cryptocurrency trading, basic methods of wealth creation, and that's it. It actually has nothing to do with teaching anyone anything about women, to the point that women are members. Loads of members.
What about the war room?
Well, the war room doesn't have female members, no. I can explain why that is if you care, but I don't think it's that interesting of a reason. Well, I would say that I don't have, or my brother, or any of the men in the war room don't have any business telling women how to be women. You see, we're not misogynists. If we were to get women into a group and say, hey, women, you need to be like this, you need to be like that, no.
Andrew tells women how they should be all the time, including a lengthy tweet I read to him. It was only last week, and that's my point. I read that whole tweet for a reason.
Yes.
It went on and on and on, and honestly, it was just blatantly misogynist.
Yeah, but people can take that or leave it. This is Twitter. That's a public forum.
It doesn't make it not misogyny.
Well,
and you guys, and here's where your massive reach and influence becomes problematic to me, because I see on the streets when I walk around in London in particular, the number of kids who come up to me all starry-eyed about the Tate brothers, right? And they're like, you know, top G and blah, 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 blah. But they're being conditioned to think by the constant rhetoric, mainly from Andrew, but I don't think you're particularly that different in your worldview of how women's place in the world should be, that they're led to believe that if a woman wants to go to work, there's something wrong with that. And we're in a very different place now to where we were in the 50s. You know, a lot of women love going to work, love their jobs, they're successful. Often they may be the main breadwinner in the family, right? The whole dynamic has changed. There's no suggestion that there's a repeated pattern of women that go to work, they have unhappy marriages or lives or unhappy children.
No, but I believe society's gotten much worse in the last 30, 40 years.
Because of women going to work?
No, not because of women going to work, but because of men losing the agency to discipline the children in the household and to be seen as the figurehead. Now, that's my personal opinion, and if you find it misogynistic, that's completely fine. But I will say that on places like Twitter, what I won't do is get any young man personally or speak with young men personally in a personal conversation and say, hey, you need a woman who you can control and can't go to work and stuff. That is absolutely not what we do. I think Ricky Gervais made a very interesting point about putting something on Twitter and people taking it personally like it's written for them. It's not written for them. Andrew can live the way he wants to live. And let me tell you, me and Andrew live in very different ways in regards to the way we see relationships, etc., because we are both very different people. But he can live the way he wants to live because, one, him and his girlfriend are both consenting adults, and that's their prerogative. Two, he's achieved a level of success and masculine excellence where he has the choice of picking which type of women he wants to date. I like different types of women. You've achieved masculine excellence yourself, Piers, and you, I'm sure, have a very happy relationship with whichever woman is in your life.
Yeah, but I do believe masculinity is important. And I don't like the way it's always constantly reframed as toxic.
Great, we agree.
But I do think that the constant stream of misogynist statements, but I'm talking mainly about Andrew, but the constant stream of them, I'm not even sure he's aware of how they come over. And that was clear from our interview.
Yeah, well, again, people could take what's put on Twitter and they can either apply it to their lives or not. They could take it personally or not. I don't know how many followers Andrew has on Twitter. Millions. Millions and millions of people.
8.2 million.
He's not writing it aimed at women or aimed at men or aimed at anybody.
Well, he is.
He's voicing his own opinions about how he lives his life.
Yeah, but to a massive audience. To a massive audience.
Yeah, to a massive audience,
And then you guys do your YouTube stuff, and that has a massive audience.
We're on Rumble, not YouTube.
Right, I'm sorry, you're banned from YouTube, right? But you're on Rumble, you're banned from some platforms, you're allowed back on Twitter and so on.
Indeed.
Look, I just think it's, for me, when I look at all the rhetoric, the stuff that I find most problematic, to use the phrase of the buzz phrase of our era,
absolutely,
is simply where I feel like if it strays into that misogyny, I think you let yourselves down. That you have a good message in many ways. You know, a lot of the stuff, notwithstanding the serious charges you're facing, and we'll have to see how that all plays out. And maybe you both are very different people to the ones you're claiming to be. We'll find out, right? But in terms of your general rhetoric, I find that constant running, underpinning theme of misogyny and about where a woman's place should be, that is the problem in terms of the influence on young men. They shouldn't all be walking around thinking that a woman's place is only in the home serving their men. And that somehow their only thought process each day, women, should be, how do I please my man, not can I get a fulfilling job or any of those things. But no, you stay at home, self-improvement, make yourself look good, obey his instructions, all that kind of stuff.
But Andrew talking about the way that he wants his relationships to work.
He's entitled.
He's
entitled to what it does.
Advocating and forcing for the whole world to see things his way.
Yeah, but that's the delusion because.
Well, no, because
you can say he only wants that for himself, right? And
by
the way, he's allowed any relationship he wants. But when you pretend that when he says those things, they're not amplified to literally tens of millions of impressionable young men.
But here's why you're wrong.
Then you know that's not true.
Well, here's why you're wrong, because you assume that Andrew Tate, for some reason in this conversation, is the only influencer in the world and the only person people listen to. Because he's not at all.
Not at all.
The internet.
But I got to tell you, he's one of the most influential.
Yeah, no, he absolutely is, and that's great.
And that's the part of his influence that I think is a potentially malevolent.
Great, and it's wonderful and good, and you don't have to like it. But let me tell you, every force has an equal and opposite force somewhere else. So on X, Elon has now legalized free speech on that platform. So there are differing opinions on every single aspect of life, including how you want to date women, what kind of music you should listen to, what kind of cars are good, what kind of whatever it is. So for every Andrew Tate out there, there's some feminist OnlyFans model who lives in Florida who makes rap music who's saying that men are nothing and men aren't shit. So the people who are listening to Andrew Tate aren't listening to Andrew Tate. They're listening to the internet as a whole. And I believe Andrew's message is, one, overwhelmingly positive, absolutely overwhelmingly positive, and I believe he's a very important mark on that spectrum of opinions that exist out there, because when you delete Andrew Tate, the mean average of people will drift down this toilet of degeneracy and become less like Andrew Tate. He's a professional athlete with a completely clean criminal record, by the way, who's massively financially successful, who's kind, who's generous. He runs his own charity. He's the best brother. He's the best father. He's the best uncle. He's an absolutely wonderful man, and I would love to see more men become like him. So I like his opinions, and I like the fact that he's out there.
Tristan Tate, thank you.
It's been a pleasure.